Well, dozens of people in Diepsloot look set to spend the night on the streets after their housing units were demolished. They're allegedly occupying the pieces of land illegally. For more on this, we speak now to Newzroom Afrika's Mbali Thethani. Mbali, good afternoon to you. What led to this? How did this happen?
Well, Stephen, we received a call from the residents in Diepsloot earlier on in the day, and we're told that, well, there's these demolitions which are taking place. And once we arrived on the scene, we found the landlady, the person who actually owns that piece of land. And she told us, well, you know, I applied for this piece of land in 2016 at the Human Settlements Department, and she began then her construction on that piece of property in 2018. And this is when she has tenants, at least 12 tenants on that piece of property, and they've occupied that land. But then we saw these demolitions taking place, and then, well, we asked why do we see these demolitions taking place? And basically we're told that, well, this piece of land which she has now built these structures on is actually illegal invasion. So then she says that, well, I have dealt with the Human Settlements Department for a couple of years and I'm still waiting for my title deeds, and I still don't have anything. So she has a number of tenants who are living in those structures, Stephen, and today they'll be sleeping on the streets.
So she has land which is hers. She doesn't have the title deeds. We know, and I think this is most people don't have the title deed to their own property. Sometimes the bank has it, but often there's a problem with government. A lot of these deals are also informal because the structure doesn't work. And you have people living there, and now the end result of this is you have a small dispute and it escalates very quickly.
Of course, what's quite interesting, Stephen, on that stretch of land, or rather that main road, is that it's quite a busy area. It has a mall, a Bambanani mall. It has a couple of franchises as well on that piece of street. And of course, it's quite busy. So basically what the community is basing and blaming this demolitions on is basically saying that, well, the people who own this piece of land or this mall, which is generating a lot of income, they're the ones responsible for these demolitions because they've been trying to occupy this piece of land for quite some time. And this, of course, is for business purposes. It is a very busy area. It is a hive of activity. There's a lot of economic activity taking place there. And she says that, well, it's no surprise. She's been in and out of the courts for quite some time now, for a couple of years. They've even offered her money to buy that piece of land, and she's basically confused, saying that, well, she doesn't understand why these demolitions took place if she's still in and out of court.
So who did the demolishing then? The city?
Well, we were told that the sheriff of the court, so that would basically be the city, who did these demolitions today. It's still quite tricky. I'm still trying to get a hold of the necessary officials who would give us the relevant answers, because it's still not clear as to, does she actually own this piece of land which she claims that does belong to her. She did apply at the Human Settlements Department, and she's still waiting for those title deeds. And there you find yourselves a number of people who are out in the streets. And what's also quite interesting is that she owns at least 2 pieces of plots on that street. The one side was not demolished, and she still has tenants in that specific venue, but it was just the one that was actually targeted, and that was demolished, Stephen.
And in the end, we have people who have to sleep on the streets tonight, and probably tomorrow night.
Of course. And I mean, you know, the community is really angry. I mean, we spoke to a number of residents in that area today. We also specifically spoke to one of the community activists in that area, Stephen, and basically saying that, well, this is a woman who actually helps out a number of the community members. She's quite known to this community. She goes by the name of Mama Joe to the community, and they're quite angry and they want answers. They're saying that they will demonstrate and they will ensure that no one invades this piece of land, even though it was bought by those who are believed to be part of the mall, which is quite close to that piece of land.
It's a kind of drama that plays out in so many different ways across Joburg, across Gauteng, across the country. The issue of land, who owns it, problems with the system. I mean, this is one story. There'll be thousands of stories like this.
I mean, Stephen, we've done a number of those stories this year alone. We know that a number of councillors have said that, especially in townships, you find that people identify pieces of land and they occupied. You know that Gauteng is a boom when it comes to accommodation. A number of people from around or across the country move to Gauteng in hopes of jobs. And of course, the issue of accommodation still remains a big issue. And a number of people living in these areas for a couple of years, once they identify pieces of land, and if they think that they can make a bit of income by renting out these units, they then start identifying these pieces of land and they invade them, Stephen.
Mbali, Thethani, thank you very much indeed.